deal that it wasn't so explored for me, which it doesn't need to be explored, but the fact that that shy by the governing authority instead of their parents.
Mhm, mhm.
And intriguing to me though that the parents had a choice. That it 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 makes it deeper. You know, if somebody would have written a story and that was a big deal to them, like the government or the governing authority, you know, Jin, he or they run like raise your kids. They would have made it compulsory. Most people that would have written that would have made it compulsory. But the fact that a parent can choose to do that, and yet most still choose, that is much more realistic on how tyranny works.
Mhm.
It much more plays on the desires of the individual within the collective instead of trying to get each individual to go against their desires.
Mhm.
It trains you to uh, to harden your heart, to go against your conscience. And so eventually you're so calloused that you'll just do whatever you right and wrong becomes whatever everybody around you believes. And I think that there's an undertone of that, even though it wasn't said in the book, you're still exploring that. I think just inherently, you know, obviously, you know, the other work you have done in your life, I think would naturally lend itself to at least being aware of how that happens. And so that was explored. I really
Yeah,
appreciated that. That if it was a dystopian novel, that would have been compulsory. She would have had to hide her son or something. You know, done like a Moses's mom situation where she would have probably had to work as a worker in the baby farm or something. You know, maybe be a volunteer. But the fact that you allowed it to be a choice and yet it was still a very common choice to the point where it was almost weird that conversation that's happening occasionally. Um, but they're it was Jacob and the girl. They're sitting there and they're I'm telling you, Colette. The name Colette will not
oh,
get out of my head.
Corey.
Oh yeah. And they're talking and there's a certain almost of a should I feel strange that my parents didn't raise me? There's a little bit of that conscience awakening in their conversation a little bit, and I really really appreciate that.